It was the work of a lone gunman who killed 11 congregants at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh just 2 months ago. And it is the work of a fiercely dedicated group of citizens around the globe that is reminding us that in the aftermath of that tragedy, there is more good in the world than evil, and that love will always blot out hate. How are they doing it? Through a craft activism project started through a Facebook group by Rochester's Hinda Mendel. The result? The creation of thousands of hand-knit Jewish stars with hearts in the center, placed outside that synagogue and all around Pittsburgh. Joining me to share more about what's next for this project focused on commemoration and community, our local project contributors, Lauren Tatanis, Catherine Tronalone, and Meg Wailars. Welcome, and I appreciate all of you being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
So this project launches from this Facebook group started here in Rochester, but people from all around the world, Costa Rica, New Zealand, Australia, and more are all a part of it. And so I want to know, just to begin, what was it? Life is so busy for so many people. What was it when you saw this post that made you say, I don't care how busy life is, I have to be involved in this? And Lauren, I'll start with you.
So it's interesting. I work at Jewish Family Service here in Rochester, so I'm very connected with the Jewish community, and we all decided that while our agency is doing some stuff, I wanted to do my own work towards this project. And I love to crochet, so this was the perfect meshing of the two things. So I made 11 stars. I crocheted 11 of these stars, and they all went out to Pittsburgh. So I really appreciate that this wonderful project that was created by Hinda and her other friend. So yes, it's great.
Oh, for me, excuse me, I know Hinda from a different project, and so I really felt like this is so important to her. She has such a great mind for these types of things, and for me, you know, it's to show that, you know, my heart mourns with them, and that there's people who will not stand up for this type of violence and tragedy in our world. We just won't stand for it.
For me, when I first heard about it, it struck me because I used to live in Pittsburgh, and neighborhood is very important. Mr. Rogers is key in Squirrel Hill and everywhere in the city, but it's a physical manifestation of saying, I mourn with you. My heart is with you. It just struck me as something I needed to be a part of.
Well, Hinda Mendel was a recent guest on Need to Know, and she would have been here with all of us today, but there was she had something else that she had to take care of. But she was the one who really introduced me to this term, craft activism. So I want to know. I know that this is probably or craftivism. I also hear it. So there are likely people tuning in right now, and they're thinking, "What is that? And how does craft serve as a form of activism?" So who would like to explain that for our viewers?
Craftivism goes back a long way. I mean, it goes back to knitting for the troops during the First World War, actually during the Civil War. It's a way for people at home, or away from the center of the fray, as it were, to take part. And for a lot of us, it's through craft. The Pussy Hat Project was a form of craftivism. The giant crocheted panel of Harriet Tubman and Susan B. Anthony, those were also craftivism projects. It's networking and grassroots community building, often among women, and often far-flung, but we get together and sort of like joining the squares of an Afghan. It's one small thing, but you start adding them together, and before you know it, you can cover a whole city.
And I think what's amazing is the power of social media through all of this. And it's been amazing to see the project really come to life. So it was first getting all of the stars together, and then I know that they collected them, and then seeing them being placed everywhere and seeing the pictures and the videos of the other people that were down in Pittsburgh really getting connected with the project as well. And they might not necessarily have crocheted or participated in that way, but they were giving our work down there. So it was great to see and kind of spot where, you know, our stars were hanging up.
We all love to see our own projects to see where it ended up.
So explain for people who don't know the significance of the Jewish Star of David, and also the idea of the symbolism of putting that heart right there in the middle.
Well, it's kind of a tough question, but I feel like everyone kind of made these symbols that were similar in some way, like we all are similar in some way, but different in our own ways too. And so I think this overwhelming theme of like, this community is hurting, but our hearts are with you. To me, that's the message that I took from it, and kind of what motivated me to find the time in my busy life to do the work.
Yeah.
So I just want to know, as crafters, we were talking a little bit before we started, and you created your sweater, you created your scarf, and I am amazed by the work that you do. How did you approach these specific pieces? Oh, Meg, you're I'm losing you, Meg. You rolled your eyes at me.
So there am I. I was casting about for the longest time. I can crochet and I can knit, and I was looking at patterns for both and then thinking about yarn, and did I have it? And I was just at a complete loss of what to do. And I was at Michael's looking around, and I found charms that were the Tree of Life.
Oh,
and
beautiful.
after I stopped crying in the charm aisle at Michael's, that was it. And I went home and I had felt and actually cut 3 layers, and the one triangle was enfolded in 2 others. So it was kind of like a hug. And then I had the red heart, and I sewed the charm in the middle.
That's beautiful.
And that finally is what spoke to me.
Beautiful.
And they were fun.
I know for me, I happened to have this this yarn right here, the blue with different colors, kind of variegated, and then I put a big red heart in the center. I know that the blue is very symbolic for the Jewish culture, but I also liked that it was variegated, so it wasn't just, it had more life to it. And so I really, was like praying for everyone during my time when I was working on this project. It was a fairly simple pattern to do, to work up crochet-wise, but I know that, these pieces are going to be everywhere in Pittsburgh, and I wanted to make sure that they looked good for everyone to see. So.
Well, I know that it was last month when 40 volunteers hung more than 2,000 hearts in Pittsburgh, outside the Tree of Life Synagogue and around the city. I'm curious to know, what type of reaction have you heard from either the congregants, neighbors, people that live in the city, just in terms of reaction to seeing this display of love and unity?
I've heard very positive reactions. I have friends from when I lived in Mount Lebanon who are actually in the Knitting Guild there with me, who's like, we saw them, are you guys involved in this? So they're actually going out into the burbs now. And Temple Emmanuel had them hung up in front of them. Other congregations in the South Hills and North Hills of Pittsburgh are getting stars hung out in front of them. They're going up and down main streets. So they are being spread, and I think it's making people just feel a little bit less alone in the middle of this. Sometimes the only thing you can do in a tragedy is to sit with the bereaved and be with them. And this is our way of sort of doing that from a distance, saying we're with you.
Yeah. I know that, so through Jewish Family Service here in Rochester, that we wrote some notes to people down in Pittsburgh and for the congregation. And some people, it's just their way to grieve is that way, is through writing notes, but it's also for myself. I did that, but then I also was like, I need to do more. So it's more the physical, doing something, and then there's something that is a remembrance of that and is giving to them. So.
Well, there's this powerful message really connected to these art pieces, and co-creator of the project, Ellen Brody, said that the Jewish stars are a reminder that an assault on one is an assault on all, and that in the end, love does truly conquer hate. So at a time when anti-Semitic hate crimes are taking place at home and all around the country, I want to know, what type of response do you hope a project like this will create, not just here locally in our community, but around the country?
It's a hard question to answer.
As you said, it's an attack on one is an attack on all, and having the visual reminders of all different communities out of our diversity is important, and not just in what was thought of as typically a community. This is near the synagogue is mostly a Jewish community, and near a different kind of house of worship is that kind of community. That we're all part of one big community. Like, get our diversity out and parade it down the main street to remind people that we are all Americans, we are all neighbors, we are all part of the same family.
I think it speaks volumes to the fact that, you know, all the different craft materials are used for this project. I know some people use like clay, they use paper, they use, you know, yarn, but it's that diversity and that we're embracing the differences between us all, and that we want to show love, and we want to show that, you know, that love wins, and that it casts out hate. So yeah.
Well, phase 1 of this project was completed in November, as we discussed. And phase 2, Hinda tells me, is in the works right now. And this is just continuing to create these Jewish hearts and to create a more permanent type of a craft memorial for the victims and survivors of Tree of Life. And there's this quote by Dr. King that I love, love, love. And he says, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter." So as this phase 2 continues and this dialogue really continues through this project, how do you hope that, like, what kind of conversations do you hope will take place? And I mean conversations that we might not be having right now.
That we talk about us rather than them.
That's good.
There is no them. There's us.
Yeah. I think that the theme of love is one that, and it's just one that keeps resonating with me, and just I hope that that message is spread throughout. That instead of you know, talking about the hate in the world, that we're just talking about love and how to love each other for our differences, instead of you know, creating that divide.
All right. Well, unfortunately, we are out of time. But a huge thank you to all of our guests for sharing more about this craft activism project, not only impacting our community, but also the entire world. And you can learn more about this on the group's Facebook page at facebook.com. Just do a search for Jewish Hearts for Pittsburgh.